Hello, good evening, and welcome to Become a Better Man. My name is Tunde Disu. Thank you for being part of today's program. On today's program, we still have Tony with us, and he's going to try and conclude the series that we've been doing, which is Tactics Lessons from the Beautiful Game of Football. I don't know about you, but the last two episodes for me has been really thought-provoking, life-changing, has really opened my eyes to see things, helped me to understand certain things and change some of the ways I approach life, some of the ways I see things. So if that is the way you feel, or if that has been your experience, it'd be good to know. So tell us tonight, before we let Tony go finally, that the last two episodes have been, they have just been wonderful. And so tonight we're going to try and get Tony back on if we can. I know Olive Branch is watching. I'm waiting for Tony to come through. Or is that Tony showing himself as Olive Branch? If that's you, Tony, let us know so we can bring you on. But while we're waiting for Tony, just a quick recap of what we've done so far. The first week we looked at post-match analysis. Post-match analysis. How do you review your day? How do you go over what the day has been to you, what the day has been for you, what you have achieved during the day? Yes, please bring him on. He wants to be here. Approve that. Yeah, to look at post-match analysis. There we have him again. Mr. Bryce, how are you, sir?
I am very well, thank you very much. Yes, I'm good.
Thank you. Sorry, it's a bit about 5-6 minutes late. I was just trying to get a few things together.
All right.
And I was just trying to recap on what we've done so far, but I'm sure you will do a better job at it. But let me give it a shot and see how. So first week we looked at post-match analysis. How do you review your day? How do you re-examine, review, revisit? How do you milk your day for what it has been? Because it is one thing for you to go through the day, but it's a different thing for you to take time to sit back and say, okay, this happened, this was what I did, this was what I said, this was how I approached this. What has been the lessons from today? What have I learned from today? What have I gained from today? What have I contributed to today? How has today really come together or not come together for me? And if they have come together, why is today better than yesterday? If the outcome was not very cheerful, nothing to sing and dance about, then there must be a reason. So the post-match analysis it's a great opportunity, or a great method of looking at what the day has been. Now, It is not intended for you to beat yourself up, especially if the day has been a terrible one. That is not the point. It is intended for you to, the Bible said, ponder the path of your life. It's for you to go back and revisit what and how the day has been. Yes, there are lessons to be learned, either good or bad outcome. There are lessons to be learned, but unless you do that deliberately, unless you consciously, actively, responsibly go back and look at what happened at lunch. Why did I react the way I reacted? Was there some underlying factors? How come I could not finish that project and submit the report, even though I've had all these weeks to prepare for it? Okay, I've done the report, I submitted it, but when it came to the presentation, I just couldn't get my slides together. Why was that? So those are some of the things you would do in your post-match analysis so that you can learn from it, you can prepare better, and you can make adjustments. Sometimes it's not even because you didn't prepare. It's just that you underestimated your opponent. You
Yeah.
underestimated the pressure that will come on when you walked into that interview room and suddenly you couldn't even remember your first name. So those are some of the things that the post-match analysis will help us to do, to pick the meat and spill the bone and get the juice out of today so that tomorrow can be a better experience. So those are some of the things in a nutshell that we covered during the first week. As if that was not enough, then last week, Miss Tony Bryce took it to a new level. And we started talking about game plans. We started looking at how to set up for life, how to set up your life for the game that you're about to enter, because every day you wake up, it's a new match. It's a new contest. It's a new opponent. It's a different scenario. Everything. You may think, oh yeah, it's the same. I still live in the same house. I still drive the same car. But every day is different. And so you have to make it a point of duty to have a game plan. Somebody said when I was in teachers college, we were told that as a teacher, if you fail to prepare your lesson, you are preparing to fail in the classroom. So your game plan is putting together a strategy that will work for you. You see, that's another thing. Just because it worked for me doesn't mean it will work for you. We may be doing the same work. We may even be identical twins, living in the same house, eating from the same pot, doing everything exactly the same. But it does not mean because this strategy, this particular method has worked for me, does not mean it will work for you. So everybody must take this personally and do the preparing. And Tony was telling us that this strategy is something you do in advance. It is too late to get into the battlefield and say, oh, just wait, let me sharpen my knife. Well, we know what the result will be. And then he went on to tell us about the different game plans that you can bring on. At this point, I don't want to eat too much into your time, Tony. I know tonight is our, hopefully, unless we can find a way of dragging you back at some other point, we're going to try and go as much as we can tonight. So I hope I've tried to do justice to
You
what
have.
we've done so far.
Great.
And I'll leave that to you. Thank you, Tony. You're very welcome.
Thank you. Great. So, okay, so tonight, our last night, we are in the second leg. So the first leg, we looked at game plans, and we looked at 3 of the 6 game plans that are part of the tactics program. And so we're going to be covering the last 3 game plans. But before I do that, let's just recap very, very briefly on the 3 game plans that we looked at last week in the first leg, essentially the first 45 minutes of the time that we had together. And Tony, you did a really good summary there of the of what we mean by game plan. So the first one we looked at last week was no game plan at all. So I have no idea, no plan. I haven't really thought about it. I'm not a person given to planning. I just literally turn up, fly by the seat of my pants, hope for the best, and let's just see what happens. And so I gave a bit of an example of what that game plan might sound like in terms of an honest description. So let me just recap. So this is game plan number 1, which is no game plan at all. And so here's someone who has that game plan. I'd like to do something with my life, but I have no plan and no idea. I'm not even clear about what I want or how to go about it. Yes, I have natural skill and potential, but I can't seem to organize myself or get my game together. To be honest, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I could do with some help to get myself organized. And we've all been there, I'm sure, of when we encounter something for the very first time that we have very little skill for, very little ability for. We stumble at it sometimes unless we've thought about it and considered it and been really diligent about our preparation, we can sometimes find that we're ill-equipped for the situation in front of us. We just don't have the knowledge, the skills, the understanding, the insight, the resources, and we're found out. But there's hope. In this tactics program, we cover all sorts of strategies to help people progress through their game plans. So if you're the kind of person who thinks, I haven't even considered or thought about my life in that kind of a way. I just kind of take each day as it comes. It sounds very laudable. Take each day as it comes, see what happens, and then tomorrow's another day, and we just repeat it. We want to bring much more intelligence and diligence and planning and forethought and preparation. We want to be skillful in our understanding and our approach to life. So that's game plan number one, which is no game plan at all. And then the second game plan we looked at was the one-dimensional approach, i.e. the long ball or a direct approach. And this is what that approach sounds like. So I'm going to try and give you a real good example today of what the game plans look like. I'm going to provide some analysis so you can see the game plans compared to each other, so you can begin to understand the differences between the two. So the one-dimensional long ball game plan it sounds a bit like this. I have one approach towards most things. And it really is quite basic and straightforward, kind of in your face. As a result of my limited approach, I am not often successful. I don't have enough variation to my game. I really need to learn more and better ways to do things. I really need to become more skillful in other areas of my life. So the one-dimensional approach is someone who hasn't developed a range of skills in a range of areas of life. They perhaps just approach most things in a usual way, and they get the usual result. You know the old adage, if you keep on doing the same thing, then you'll get the same result. So the one-dimensional approach is I'm just using one approach. Maybe it's my slingshot from a distance that is right in your face, literally, as David found that actually some situations in life just require some intelligence, some skills, some preparation, some planning, some diligence, some thinking through in order to be an overcomer in a particular situation. So that's the one-dimensional, the long ball approach. It's straightforward, it's direct, it just lacks tactical nous, it just lacks wisdom, it just lacks knowledge and understanding. It's just this is all I know right now. And that's okay as a starting point. Sometimes we have a particular skill and then we realize we've got to add other skills. If that particular skill is going to work to its fullest, we just need to add some other skills, other approaches, and that's possible. And so this tactics program helps us to do exactly that. And then the third game plan that we looked at last week was the defensive formation, which is somebody who is not very bold or full of faith or adventurous, but kind of timid and a bit shy and reluctant and cautious and unwilling to venture out or to make progress or to go after what they're wanting. And so the defensive formation in the game of football sounds a bit like this. I'm afraid to go forward, to go after what I want. I'm afraid to take risks, to cross the line. I'm keeping it all safe and buttoned up. I'm rigidly sticking with the status quo, with how things are, with what I know. I'm sitting back, parking the bus, keeping things rigid, and I'm defending in numbers for fear of being taken advantage of. I'm anxious about failing and losing. I'm nervous about being overstretched and overwhelmed and out of my depth. I'm worried about the cost of being vulnerable. I'm protecting myself. I'm fearful about opening up. I'm scared to express myself. I don't want to be found out. I believe it's better to be safe than sorry. That's that approach. It's better to be safe than sorry, but perhaps I'm being too safe. And so that's the thing about the defensive approach. It's about, I don't want to suffer loss. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to fail, be overwhelmed, overstretched, outnumbered. I don't want to be taken advantage of. And therefore, I just hold back. I'm cautious. I'm just protecting what I've gained without venturing out after other things that life has to offer. And so the defensive formation really is just keeping things safe and settled and stable and not being surprised by anything. And so it is an approach, and there is sometimes actually where the approach is very, very useful. You know, if life is just hitting you left, right, and center, and you're being bombarded down every flank, and the towering defenders, opposition defenders are coming at you, then there may be an occasion in life where you think, you know what, let's just hold steady. Let's hold fast. Let's just hold the ground, because this too will pass. And then sometimes you just got to hold your ground until an opportunity comes and you can break out and break free. But the defensive approach has its value. And like all the approach, they have some learning within them.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, if it's our usual approach, then it's not very adventurous, not very bold, not very forward thinking, on the front foot, and it just sits back and just protects. It's very panic driven, it's very anxiety ridden, because it's about saying, oh, they're coming at me, life is coming at me. And sometimes we have to hold our ground, but at other times we need to adopt some of the other approaches. And so it's those other approaches that I want to look at today. Now, here's
before you start looking to
course, yes,
further, but if I can just add a little bit to what you just said, especially regarding the third game plan, the defensive approach. You know, it is said that most human beings spend the first 18 years of their lives making concrete, certain things in concrete, as far as their views, their opinions, their outlook in life. The first 18, 19, maybe up to 20 years is what naturally people do. That's what you're doing, setting your core, putting your pillars in place. And then most people who are defensive in nature, like you're saying, they then spend the rest of their lives defending those stakes that they've put in the ground, those pillars that they've erected, those beliefs, those principles. They spend the rest of their lives defending that point, even when it is obvious that the circumstances have changed, the factors are different, the environment is totally different, the relationship, the contacts, the exposure, everything is different, and they can see it. But somebody who is defensive minded, so yeah, I hear what you're saying, but yeah, I can see what you're saying. I mean, I completely see your point, but because for them, they rather retreat back into that shell where they feel safe, they feel comfortable, they feel, I know this place. Better a devil that you know than an angel you haven't seen, and that type of approach. And as good as that might sound, as good as that may sound, as far as your quote and unquote security is concerned, the reality is you have just shut the door on a life experience that will knock your socks off.
Yes.
And in most cases, it becomes too late before people realize that life just went by my house and I didn't open the door. He knocked on my door and I bolted the door. He knocked the door down and I went out through the back door just because this is my cottage. This is where I want to be. This is how I've always done it. It has always worked for me. Therefore, what's the point in changing it?
Yes.
But there is more to life than the way it used to be.
Absolutely. And that just reminds me what we said about game plan, that it has two approaches. A game plan is both forward on the front foot, but also has a defensive aspect to it. And so we've got to do both. We've got to, you know, the defensive mode, if you want, is about resisting and preventing what you don't want. And so sometimes holding on to the 1-0, the small gain, can cause us not to venture out for the other possibilities. So the forward players, they exist to do two things: to create and to achieve what you do want. And so it's about getting a balanced game so that you're going after things, but you're also protecting the things that are important, that are valuable to you, which kind of cues me into the fourth game plan, because you can see how this game plan contrasts with the defensive approach. So this game plan is called recklessly going for it. So it is the opposite of the defensive mode. So if the defensive mode is sitting back, parking the bus, not venturing out, recklessly going for it. And incidentally, this is the game plan of Samson. Samson in the book of Judges, was his game plan, recklessly going for it. So let me describe what the game plan looks like. So it's the opposite of the defensive approach. It's single-mindedly offensive. It's risk negating, i.e., it doesn't consider risks. It's unbalanced, it's bold, it's blindly optimistic. It is what we call discovery mode with no care, no caution. It has only one goal and one goal in life, which is to get as much as possible. It's not bothered about resisting and preventing what you don't want. It's about putting yourself out there, throwing everything forward, taking the game to the opposition with waves of attacks and countless attacking options. It's about expressing yourself freely with the shackles and the handbrakes off. So if the long ball is one course of action, this approach consists of many ventures outside your own half, crossing the line and into the opposition's penalty area where goals are achieved. This game plan is focused on goals and rewards and fulfillment and gains and possibilities and accomplishments. It is pleasure and thrill seeking. It has a fill your boots and get all you can philosophy about it. For those who are watching this game plan, it is a thrilling game to watch. But for your supporters, your friends and family, it's nerve-wracking. It's a roller coaster, emotional, dramatic experience as they watch you win big or lose big. And so it's about recklessly going for it. But this approach can leave you exhausted. It can be a kind of gung-ho, naive type of play where you've pushed too many things forward. And I'll give you an example for that. So for example, let's say you have now secured the target, secured the large bonus, you've won the contract, and because you've put in the hours, but you've conceded in the area of health and faith and family and friendships. And so recklessly going for it leaves out the important things that are there to protect us and to give balance to our lives, like family and faith and friendship and health. So let's not recklessly go after it, all heart, the shackles and handbrakes off. Let's play the game, not just with our heart, because when you recklessly go for it, it's your all heart. You're putting it out all there. But it needs to be balanced with head, with a tactical thinking approach, that whilst you're going forward, remember faith, remember family, remember friendships, remember your health, remember your creator, as it were, according to Ecclesiastes. So it's about not overstretching and overcommitting yourself and leaving yourself vulnerable at the back. You've got to play the game with your head and not throw too much things forward, putting all your eggs in one basket, as it were. And so what often happens with those who recklessly go for it, they are susceptible to the counterattack. Now, here's a really good definition of a counterattack. A counterattack is an unexpected and swift change in the direction of life against the run of play that puts you on the back foot. And let me say that again. A counterattack is an unexpected and swift change in the direction of life against the run of play that puts you on the back foot. So when you commit too many things forward, i.e. you lack sleep because you're going for the next opportunity, going for the next venture, you're going for the next one, you're going for the next one. All it needs is for life to turn the table on you, and suddenly you find yourself on the back foot. So let's not recklessly go after it. Let's use intelligence. And I alluded to the life of Samson, who went recklessly going after it and found out that he had not protected and had essential things in place that would be protective to his life. So that's the next game plan. So just two more to go, and then I'm going to provide an example of what those game plans look like. The fifth game plan is what we call the counter-attacking approach. So the counter-attacking approach is a little bit defensive. Actually, it's mostly defensive. It's just like, let's just sit back and let's see what life brings. That's what it sounds like. If you're the kind of person who sits back, who doesn't take initiative, you sit back, let's see what life will bring. Then the counter-attacking approach may be describing your predominant temperament, your predominant game plan, how you set yourself up for life. So the counter-attacking approach is mostly cautious, it's risk averse, it's safe, it's defensive, it's not opportunity seeking, it's opportunity seizing. Now there's a difference there. But this game plan allows you just to sit back. But if an opportunity is created, if there's a chance to do something and do something decisive, if there's an opening, an opportunity that's been created, well, I'll take it. Otherwise, I'll just let it go by. And so you can recognize this approach. And I'm going to illustrate shortly what each of the game plans look like so you can get a sense of what it is. So this game plan is responsive and reactive rather than initiative taking. So this game plan would rather have a bird in the hand than go looking for the two in the bush. In other words, there are opportunities out there, but I'm going to hold on to the one that I have in my hand. However, if there's a chance, an opportunity, an opening, that I'll take as quickly as I possibly can, I'll go for it. Otherwise, I'll just sit back and look after what I've got. So that's the counter-attacking game plan. Now, the last game plan, the last but most certainly not least, is what I call the principle thing, the tactical approach, the tactical play. And so in my tactics version, I have a tactics version of scripture, and it says something like this: consider the ant, watch her ways and become wise. Although she has no overseer, officer, or ruler telling her what to do, in summertime she purposefully stores her food supply. At harvest time, she intentionally gathers her food. Her life is well run. So the tactical approach is the principle approach. Now let me describe what that looks like. And this is the approach. When you look at football teams, the team that plays technically and tactically tends to have the advantage. So let me describe what that looks like. So tactical play is deliberate, it's intentional, and it's intelligent. It's an intelligent way to get your ball, the idea, your life, your desire, your purpose between the posts and across the line, which is where you want it. It is playing the game of life masterfully, on the front foot with an intelligent head. The tactical approach is purposeful and well drilled and missional in its approach. It requires the intelligent use of pace and skills and organization, as well as patient, methodical build up from the back. It involves instructions. It involves control and possession in tactical, progressive ways. It involves defense and midfield and flowing football. It involves playing the ball vertically and horizontally, switching flanks and just trying every which way, exploring options, looking for and creating openings, probing and pressing and defending and working the space. It's stringing passes together. It's creating and running into space. It's played with the heart, absolutely, because you've got to go out there and express yourself. But it's intelligent, it's considered, it's diligent, it's thought through, it's planned, it's organized, it's attuned, it's responsive, it's opportunity seeking. It takes the initiative, but can defend and tackle and counterattack. It can increase the intensity of your game. It brings tempo and rhythm and passion and heart, but it's planned and thought through. It involves other people. It involves the spine of the team, essential people in your corner working the game with you. It involves individual brilliance. It is what I call the intelligent and masterful game plan. And it's, statistically speaking, the best game plan for achieving consistently good outcomes. It involves different skills in different positions. It's about using everything, every player on your team doing their bit to help you achieve the goals and to help you prevent and resist the things that you don't want. It is about using your relationships and all the God-breathed resources of body, soul, and spirit, of talent and character and mind and personality and will and emotion and physiology and prayer and finance towards your purpose. It's about trading passes and teamwork and communication. It's a masterful tactical approach, and that's where peak performance lives, in when we play the game, not just with our heart, but with the skill. So let me just illustrate those three game plans sound like. So this is what recklessly going for it sounds like. I am going for it all with everything I've got. I'm all over this. No shackles and no handbrakes, no care or caution. I'm going to freely and adventurously express myself. I plan on filling my boots to take every chance going forward, to get everything I can. I'm out to get what I want, whatever the cost to me personally. I don't do tired. Rest can wait. I've got things to accomplish. That's what recklessly going for it sounds like. And I would add a cautionary note to that. Then the counter-attacking approach says this. Now, I wouldn't usually take risks. See, I'm quite happy to stay with what I've got, to stay safe and secure with the way things are. I'm happy to sit back and to protect what I've got. But if an opportunity to advance presents itself, if there's an opening, a chance, a slight foot in the door, I'll take it. And that's the counter-attacking approach. Now, the tactical approach sounds a bit like this. I'm working on my game plan and I'm working on myself every day towards the goals I have set. I'm moving forward on the front foot with an intelligent game plan and helpful interconnecting actions with increasing skill and with a strategy that is well balanced, responsive and attuned to the game of life. I have good people around me supporting and coaching me to success. So a tactical game plan is just using everything that you have been given, your mind, your will, your emotions, your education, your learning. It's about using your friendships and prayer. It's using your finance and every opportunity you have, organized and resourced in a way that will help you to achieve the goals that you have set for yourself. Now, I hope that better helps you to better understand what I mean by each of the game plans. But here is what I would call a real world example to illustrate each playing style. So we're talking about playing styles here. So here's an example, and one example, and this is how each of the game plans would respond to that. So I hope you find this useful. Now, the analogy is about you see someone, okay? I'm going to make this really practical so you can understand the game plans. You see someone you think you might like, and you would like to get to know them better, whether as a friend or a romantic interest, okay? So the first game plan would do this. So that's no plan and no idea. Now, this is their post-match analysis. My approach was all wrong. I made a complete hash of it. I was all over the place. I was unclear, clumsy, awkward, inappropriate, rude, and nervous in my approach. I overdid it. I showed my naivety today. I showed my two left feet. I was all fingers and thumbs. It just didn't go well. It was a disaster. Why? Because there was no game plan, no sensible thinking through how to approach a situation like this. Game plan number two, the one-dimensional approach, would sound a little bit like this in that scenario. I approached in my usual direct, overly forward and no-nonsense manner. There was no beating around the bush, no finesse and no build-up. I was straight in there.
Like a Yorkshire man.
Hey, I'm a Yorkshire. I'm a Yorkshire.
If I go live.
So straight in there with the big question, and I'm rebuffed and sent packing. It lacked finesse. It lacked intelligence. It was just the only approach I know is to be in the face. And sometimes, and I will talk about this a little shortly after, sometimes that works. But most times, it requires a little bit more thinking in your approach. Now, this is the defensive formation with that scenario about approaching someone who you think might be a friend, a future friend, or a romantic interest. This is the defensive approach. I saw the person from a distance, but I didn't approach them. I was fearful that I might be turned away, and I can't face another rejection. I was hopeful that they may approach me, but I wasn't sure what I would say or how I would respond if they did. You know what? I'll just not bother next time. It doesn't mean that much to me anyway. Who needs friends? And that's the defensive formation. Scared to be rejected, scared to be rebuffed, they don't approach. And so that's the defense. Go ahead. You've got a finger up. Go ahead.
I think what you've just said, I know you as a pastor, I'm sure you'll have encountered and experienced these, especially with men, where they know what they want. They see somebody they really want to talk to, they feel drawn towards, but then they say, oh, but you see, we've been friends for so long. If I go that way now, it will spoil our friendship. I'm thinking, friendship? What do you call this? Enmity? This is to solidify the friendship. Take the friendship to the next level. Take it to the next point. Improve on it. Graduate the friendship. But the defensiveness of people would say, no, I would rather just keep it the way we are. But you will go home and complain to the dog, the cat, the pillow, anything else. I can't believe she just looked away. Well, she looked away because you were looking at her. And so I'm saying that to say, I don't know who this will help out there. Yes, you may not have what it takes, the courage, the boldness, the confidence, whatever it is. Can I tell you something? The fact that she's already your friend, just friend, is enough to tell me she's impressed with what she's saying. It's enough to tell me at least she's open to you making a suggestion. What have you got to lose? She will say no. And then what? But get out of your comfort zone. And that's why many men are still 45, still being single. We need to start praying for you. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So sitting back, playing it safe, not taking risks can mean that some opportunities to progress things, to take things a little bit further, you miss out on because you didn't venture, you didn't step out of the comfort zone and ask the question in an intelligent way. And I'm going to explore what that looks like. And then there's the recklessly going for it. So this is not a helpful approach at all, but in that same scenario. So let's listen to this one. It says this: I made several approaches in quick succession. I pursued them relentlessly. I wouldn't let them get away from me. I would not take no for an answer. I harassed and pressurized and kept going at them until I wore them down, until they gave in and gave me what I wanted, the mobile phone number. Now, recklessly going for it, when you use words like harassed and pressurized, that doesn't sound like a helpful approach at all in this kind of scenario. But that's what recklessly going for it means. It's not done sufficiently intelligently. And then here's the counter-attacking approach. So this is just to give you an example of what each playing style looks like. So the counter-attacking approach would sound like this. Well, I didn't want to be too forward or too keen because that can be reckless. So I sat back and waited for an opening for them to speak to me, for them to speak to me first, or for an opportunity to arise, a naturally occurring opportunity to arise where we were perhaps sat together by chance. But actually, whilst I was waiting for them, they were waiting for me. And so the counter-attacking approach can be stalemate because you don't approach them, they don't approach you. And if that's the case, then it's a nil-nil, it's a stalemate, it's a draw. You don't progress anything when they're waiting on you and you're waiting on them. So that's the counter-attacking approach. Whereas the tactical approach, now this is the principle thing, the principle approach. This is what they would say in that situation. I studied them and took the time in advance. That's that word again, that game plan word. Took the time in advance to learn how to and how not to handle situations like these. I prepared myself and my approach based upon my observations of them and my understanding. I wasn't thought through, considered in my approach. In other words, let me just say that again. In the tactical approach, you are considered in your approach. You don't recklessly go in there or hoping that it will work out. You work on your presentation. You introduce yourself in a friendly way. You listen attentively. You respond warmly. You show genuine interest. In other words, in the tactical approach, there's not just an awkwardness like the first approach, or a direct, blunt approach like the second approach, or actually not approaching at all, or only waiting for an opportunity, or recklessly going for it and making a mess of it. It's a thinking person's approach. It's considered. And so let me just summarize by finally my last analysis of each of the game plans, and then I'm going to say a little bit about 2020 and what this program could look like. And just to gauge your, it always go ahead. You see, you can't, when somebody's got their finger up, you've got to stop and go ahead, sir.
I just want to add a little bit to the principle, the tactical approach, which from all you've said tonight is really, one would nearly say, the best approach. One of a word of caution, though, is that in an attempt to be tactical and principled and measured and do your homework and check your barometers, and you can go from analysis to paralysis.
Yes.
Where you overanalyze, you over structured and over plan, and at the end of the day, you spend all your time trying to perfect the plan that you never have the time to work the plan.
Absolutely.
So the tactical, the principle, the calculated approach is great, but just make sure you don't overanalyze it, you don't over explain it, you don't over, just trying to get it perfect. In an attempt to be perfect, one whippy snapper guy will just whoosh past you, and before you know it, they're walking down the aisle, and just say, but this is my plan. I was waiting for the Easter period. No. Do your homework. Get your plans in order. Then work the plan.
Absolutely.
Because if you try to overanalyze it, it will turn to paralysis.
That's right. There is an approach called tiki-taka, which means too many small touches, too many small unnecessary touches. And when you do that, you miss your opportunity. When you're seeking for the perfect arrangement, it can somehow pass you by. And so you're absolutely right. Every game plan has its advantages and disadvantages. And as Dee rightly pointed out, there is a balance to be struck between opportunity seeking and opportunity seizing. And so I'm going to just tease out that very comment a little more when I just look at each of the game plans. So for example, the game plan that says no plan and no idea, it just means I didn't even think about it. I just walked into this situation hoping that it would work out fine. Now, the thing about this particular plan is you will experience what we call big and frequent losses, because there are many areas that need to be worked on as a result of what we might call an amateurish playing style. So if you've got a no plan, no idea, you're likely to experience big and frequent losses because there are many areas that need to be worked on as a result of this amateurish playing style. If you are one-dimensional, you'll experience minimal victories because weaker teams or situations will succumb to a direct approach. But you'll also experience big and frequent losses because most teams will be able to deal with that without any problems at all. So if you, as Dee rightly says, analysis paralysis, the thief of opportunity. So there's a balance. And this is why a game plan is a balanced approach. It's defensive, there's midfield, and there's forward. You are preventing and creating what you don't want. You're preventing and resisting what you don't want, but also you're creating and obtaining what you do want. So there's an important balance to be struck. And that's why life is kind of complex sometimes, because wisdom will tell you, what is the best and most helpful approach in this particular situation at this time. And so that's why it's called a tactical approach. It's based upon wisdom, which is the principal thing, a really important thing. If you adopt a defensive formation, you will experience what I call small and infrequent gains. They'll be small and infrequent because you won't venture out, because you're scared, because you're nervous about losing out, about missing out. But you'll also experience small and infrequent losses because you have chosen being safe over being sorry. And so sometimes it's, we say it's better to be safe than sorry, but sometimes you can be too safe. And that's the point you make. You can be too safe, and we don't want to do that. Now, recklessly going for it, you may experience big wins because you ventured out on many fronts, but you may also experience big losses because you overstretched. Because you overstretched and left yourself vulnerable in key areas of your life. So the recklessly going for it is a risk negating. So let's just deflag the whole question about risk. So there's risk negating, which means I don't consider risks. I put risk behind me. Risk averse is I'm a bit nervous about them. I'm a bit nervous about taking risks. Whereas risk taking and risk managing is saying, I accept there's going to be risks here, but I will manage them. I will work with them as opposed to avoid them or be afraid of them. Risks are inevitable. They've got to be managed. They can't be ignored, and we can't be afraid of them. We've got to embrace life and the opportunities that life brings. And so the counter-attacking approach is waiting for the opportunity to arise, and when they arise, it'll seize them. And that's okay. Sometimes the opportunity lands on our feet and we've got to take them. Sometimes we've got to create them, create the opportunities, create the chances. So the tactical approach is opportunity seeking. It seeks the opportunity. Sometimes we wait for the opportunity to knock. Opportunity knocks. Sometimes it doesn't knock. We've got to do the knocking. We've got to ask and seek, and we
open the door and drag it inside.
Yeah, and that's how it is, and that's the way life is. Once you've asked, you've got to seek. Once you seek, you'll find, and then you've got to knock. You've got to keep on progressing it until you obtain what you're hoping for or what you're looking for. So the tactical approach, you're more likely to experience big and frequent wins because of your tactical, risk managing, threat countering, opportunity seeking, intelligent playing style. But you'll also may experience minimal losses because a master tactician has overplayed and outplayed and outfought you. And sometimes it's like that. So this is what I'm essentially saying. Bring head and bring heart to the game of life. Consider it, think about it, know how to set yourself up for the game of life. We know some of the inevitable challenges that we're going to face. We know that we're going to have to look after what we've gained, how we're going to have to seize the advantage, how we're going to have to bounce back from setback. We know these things are going to happen. But we want to be on the front foot. We want to be making progress, going after what's ahead of us, but also looking after the important things that add protective value to our lives: family, faith, and friendships, and health. And so it's important to get the balance right between going forward and looking after what you've gained, developing your plans, but not be so stuck and rooted to your plans that you end up in analysis paralysis, where you are overthinking things. You've got to take action on your plans. You've got to follow through on your plans. Let's not wait for perfect opportunities. There's a verse that says, if you look at the wind, you will not sow. If you wait for the perfect opportunity, you'll not do anything. So it's about seizing your opportunities, taking them and making them work for you. And so, wow. So we've been with you for 3 weeks, and it has been, I've certainly enjoyed thinking through with you and in the question and answers, and just exploring this wisdom from the beautiful game. There's much to learn from. life. And in particular, I would say the whole game of football and how you set yourself up and how you optimize your time on the spinning ball we call planet Earth. Our time is short, and so we want to do the very best with it. So we have limited ourselves to 3 weeks, and I've enjoyed the opportunity, Tony, that you've created for us to look at this together. I certainly enjoyed this. So what about 2020? Because you're right, this has been a starter. This is like just to whet your appetite. And there's certainly more to come. And certainly the feedback and the responses that we've had via this broadcast, but also in conversations, people are saying we would love to have the time and space created where we can just spend time just to create a space for us to think about and to plan and to organize ourselves and to learn how to set ourselves up for the game of life. So here's what I'm committing to for 2020. This is the home and away fixtures for the tactics program for 2020. So we'll be creating in 2020, there will be home and away fixtures of the tactic program. We will be creating safe, high support, high challenge spaces to optimize our time on the ball. So there will be home fix. If you are anywhere near West Yorkshire or you're prepared to travel up, we meet as a fellowship at Hope Park Centre of Excellence in Bradford, West Yorkshire. That's Yorkshire, all right, Yorkshire. BD5 8HW. And on the last Saturday of the month, starting from January, the last Saturday of January, every month, we will be hosting home fixtures. So if you're anywhere near Bradford or prepared to travel to us, then we'll be meeting for a live tactics discussion, workshops, seminars with refresh. It's going to be an incredible time. And so that's the home fixture every Saturday, the last Saturday of every month. That's what we're going to be doing. We'll be talking tactics, men, women, children, friends, brothers, uncles, aunties, sisters. We'll take you all and we'll explore this beautiful game together. Now, in terms of away fixtures means we come to where you are. And so if you've enjoyed this program, got a lot of value from it, and you thought, you know what, I would love a talk or a seminar or a conference or a retreat or a workshop or just the opportunity to meet one-on-one and just explore these themes together. And that means we come to you, then we're so willing to come to you and to do that. But here's the thing that I think you'll probably really appreciate. So this year I had this amazing opportunity. 12 men retreated. We spent the time together on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, it was just men because the women were away also retreating together. So we took the opportunity on that same weekend to gather as men on a Friday and a Saturday and a Sunday in a hotel with refreshments. And it was an amazing time together. So in 2020, next year, we are taking the tactics program on the road. And so in addition to the home fixtures in Yorkshire and the away fixtures when we come to you at your request, we are pulling together a tactics retreat. So and this is a provisional date, pencil this in because this is going to be a tremendous opportunity. On Friday the 19th of June 2020 and the Saturday, we are at a venue to be confirmed. Let me know where you are abouts in the country and we will try and hold this centrally so we can all get to. But we're hosting a tactics retreat where you can experience the discussions and you can watch the audio visual materials. You'll have your workbook, you'll have discussions and breakout opportunities and questions and answers. And these are certificated programs. There are certificates at each level. This is going to be a tremendous opportunity. And so if you're near Bradford, join us. All of this will be posted on a range of social media platforms, but join us for home fixtures at Hope Park Centre of Excellence in Bradford, West Yorkshire, BD5 8HW. But if you love this program, we'll come and find you. And on the 19th of June, 2020, we will spend days together exploring these themes and more as we learn all we can, get all the wisdom we can about how to set ourselves up for the game of life and how to optimize our time on the ball, the spinning ball that we call planet Earth. Let's make the most of our time and our opportunity. And so if you're interested and want to know more, you can email me at tactics@olive-branch.org.uk. And we will be so pleased to add you to our WhatsApp group. We will be so delighted to provide with updates and information. You can be part of all that we're doing to get this word out so we can explore and develop our skills and our strategy for life on the ball. And so, Tunde, I'm going to give you now as the adjudicating referee on the 89th.
Can you repeat the email again? Tactics@olive.
So it's tactics@olive-branch.org.uk. tactics@olive-branch.org.uk. You can come to us, we'll come to you, but on the 19th of June, at a venue to be confirmed, we will get together, men, women, and children, and we'll learn how to set ourselves up for life and the beautiful game. So Dee's just put the email up there as well. It's going to be incredible. And if it's anything like what we did with the brothers in June of this year, it will be astounding. You'll have space for questions and answers, space to offer your opinion, space to think about and to work on, at, and through some things. And it's going to be incredible. It really is. So Tunde, can I thank you again for hosting us as you have, and I have certainly enjoyed our banter. And we didn't talk too much about teams, and we promised we wouldn't.
Yeah, we did. We're gentlemen. We kept our words, you know.
We kept our word, yeah. But it's been a great opportunity, and maybe Tunde and I will talk a little bit more nearer the time as we prepare for the retreat in June. We can speak a little bit more about that, and you will find out more. So email us and we will provide with updates and information, add you to our Tactics WhatsApp group, and you can just encourage one another and support your fellow players and colleagues in the game of life. We can do this. And so let's equip ourselves for the game of life. Thank you very much.
Amen. Well, Tony, see, sometimes where we miss out in life is when we think we know it all. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows it all. And there's a reason why God has put us in each other's lives. And one of the ways to explore and exploit and take advantage and take the privilege of that relationship, of that connection, of that togetherness is when we open up ourselves one to another. And that is what this has been for us. We've talked about this, we've chatted about it, we've deliberated about it, we've done various things here and there, but a time came when we thought, no, let's take this thing, just put it out there, and let's see what comes back. As they say, throw it against the wall, see what sticks. But man, the last 3 weeks, they've stuck on my wall, and they will remain there because it has been an experience. It has been a journey. It has been a time of really asking the question. You know, Miles Monroe of blessed memory said one of the biggest lessons, one of the biggest questions that everybody must answer in life is, who am I? Where am I going? Why am I here? And this whole tactics approach is a way of answering some of those questions. Because in the process of planning the game of your life, You have to factor in your life in the game. But not just your life, you have to identify, who am I in this game? What role am I playing? Am I the goalkeeper? Am I in the defense? Am I playing in the midfield? Am I the attacker? Or am I just sitting on the bench? Or am I just in the spectator stand clapping and screaming and shouting? So in the process, you find yourself, you answer the question, why am I here? You answer the question, where am I going? And so there is more to be unwrapped in all of these than what we have done in the past three meetings, which really is about an hour each. And now the 3 hours we spent in the past 3 weeks is just like the introduction of what is the game of life. And so I am excited and thrilled about both the home fixtures and the away fixtures, but more than that, when we go to Wembley to play the FA Cup final in June, man, I can't wait. I really can't wait. It's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. I'm marking my calendar now. And I want to use this opportunity also to express our appreciation for your time, your presence, but more than that, your willingness to share this, to really take us through this journey for the past 3 weeks. It has been a journey of discovery, which is one of the things I say always on this platform. We are on a journey of discovery. And every step we take, every week we meet, every time we come together, it's another step towards discovering something new, discovering something excellent, finding out more about ourselves, but more than that, equipping ourselves towards the destination that is set before us. Because I am convinced that we're going somewhere. We're going somewhere. There is a place for us. There's a need. There is an assignment that is tied to us. But it will be of no use arriving at the battlefield and we're not ready, we're not prepared. And so all of these are avenues of preparation, opportunities of getting ourselves ready, fixing our sword and sharpening our irons and cleaning our guns and making sure that when we arrive at that destination, even the enemies will have no choice but to say, surely these guys are ready. These ones, they are prepared. These are definitely better men and better women that we've seen before. And you have been a major part of that. This program, what we've done in the past 3 weeks, has really helped us to move further, to get closer, but to be more equipped to be able to arrive at that destination. So on behalf of every man, woman, boy, and girl that are part of this movement, that are part of this platform, I want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the blessing that you've been to us, because really that's what it is. You have been a blessing to us. And we pray that God, who sees in secret and rewards in the open, will remember your labor of love and will deluge you with his blessing. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. My warmest regards to thee and the one at home. Thank you so much, Tony. It's been a great time. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Bless you.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Thank you,
everyone. We'll meet again next week. You never know. Might just be able to bring him back, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Thank you. God bless you. Have a great evening.
Thank you.